There's long been accusations against the European Union's institutions that they don't reflect the diversity of the populations of the EU's member states. So here on The Brief from Brussels, we're taking a look at what that means in the context of the European Parliament's recent elections. Sajid Karim is a member of the European Parliament of British Pakistani origin, one of only 18 people of colour providing representation in the House's last term.
I think it's a real shame that even in this day and age we find ourselves in a situation where so many of our institutions, both at a national level and at an EU level, simply do not reflect the societies that they choose to represent. And whilst that remains the case, there is always going to be a deficit in our democracy.
Mr Karim, who won't sit in the next term after losing his seat, like many British Conservatives, feels diversity in the European Parliament has actually got worse in the 15 years he's been a member. A new report on the European elections from the European Network Against Racism says that while racial and ethnic minorities make up 10% of the EU's population, only 5% of those elected into the European Parliament this time are from such a background. A total of 30 MEPs.
It really depends about how we hold our national parties to account. If we make it clear to them that equality and diversity is a priority, we vote on the basis of that, they have to change the way that they structure their lists. And this, I think, we need to see in other countries like Belgium, where you don't actually have that many minorities elected because they weren't at the top of the list.
When Britain exits the EU, its 7 MEPs from ethnic minority backgrounds who've been elected will leave the Parliament, harming the diversity numbers further. But the EU's other institutions, like the European Commission and the European Council, are still even lagging behind the Parliament. It's estimated only 1% of those directly employed are from ethnic minority backgrounds. The number of Greens in the new European Parliament has risen to 74. The grouping, one of the big winners of the elections, announced that 5 newly elected members have joined their ranks. 3 members of the Czech Pirate Party, as well as 2 left-leaning German politicians, will sit with the Greens. Council President Donald Tusk is starting a tour to gauge support for candidates hoping to become the next EU Commission President. His first meetings are with the Spanish Prime Minister in Madrid. A broader spread of parties elected into the European Parliament is complicating the selection process. A new, powerful far-right alliance in the European Parliament is looking much less likely. Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage says they'll not be joining up with the group of Matteo Salvini and Marine Le Pen. Jarosław Kaczynski, leader of Poland's ruling Law and Justice Party, also won't be teaming up with Salvini.